All right, y'all. So we have both the kits for Zxous and Brid, the winter limited characters. Honestly, I think both of them are going to be decent characters, but I think this whole event is lackluster. I don't know why. I feel like when you make characters and you put them behind crazy niches, it just becomes like, I don't even know. It just becomes like, what's the point of summoning for them in that sense, right? But obviously there's not only just Zxous and Brid coming out, there's actually confirmed Maiden and Guillotine coming out as well, which obviously both these characters are still pretty good characters. Obviously more Maiden than Guillotine. I think Guillotine's a good character. I think people just don't use her. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a massive difference there. It's not that she's bad, it's just people generally just don't use her, right? And it's not because she's bad, it's just because she's a water and there's so many other water characters, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, today we're gonna be talking about, should you be summoning for Zxous? Should you be summoning for where is Brid? They're acting like I didn't see her kit already. Oh, did they re-upload Zxous kit? Okay, it's the same thing. They just made it like, they basically just made it that it's not like hard to understand in a sense, right? But anyways, like I said, yeah, when it comes to Brid, when it comes to Zxous, Guillotine and Maiden, who do you summon for, right? Who do you summon for, especially if you don't have any of these four characters, right? Because I think genuinely a lot of these characters are good. So let me explain to you guys what Maiden and Guillotine does, right? Maiden is basically, and I know some of y'all who don't know this might freak out, but she's basically, what I call her is a 0.5 Cinderella. Her kit is kind of like Cinderella, it's just not the exact same, right? Basically, she's an electric character who skills off of max HP to do damage, right? So as you guys see, after attacking with a full charge 6 times, she's going to give herself a max HP buff without restoring HP for 15 seconds, and that stacks up, right? That stacks up. And then I believe it's on her skill 2 right here, right? When she uses her MP, the attack of the caster's final, she will get like an attack buff of 3.2% of the caster's final max HP. Not only that, she gives damage as strong element increase 31% to herself for 10 seconds. Not only that, when MP is replenished, she gives all electrical allies but herself a strong element buff of 40%, right? And an attack buff of 20%, right? Again, of the caster's attack, which is just crazy, right? Because that's really big for electric characters such as Cinderella or Scarlet or Anise or whatever electric character you want to use realistically, right? And basically how she works is like, you kind of want to have as much MP as you have and then just let it all off at once. She's kind of like a Summer Eleg, right? So she can have a maximum of 12 MP, right? Which we're gonna just call mana power. We'll just call it MP to make it simple, right? But when you enter stage 1, stage burst stage 1, she recovers 1 MP. When you enter a full burst, she replenishes 1, or her MP is replenished by 1, right? And again, that can be all the way accumulated up to a maximum of 12 for both of them, right? But this only works if, you know, she will only recover 1 MP if she has 0 MP, right? And then if she has more than 1 MP, then she'll replenish MP, right? Which basically she's just gonna keep getting MP. Like that, I don't know why they made it difficult like that. It's the same thing realistically. Like, she's gonna get MP if she has 0, and if she has more than 0, so 1 or more, she will just still get MP with every full burst that passes by, right? But then her burst skill kind of scales based on how much MP she has, right? So that's why you kind of want to have a maximum of 12 or whatever. But for me and a lot of other people, we use Maiden as a support. I don't actually use Maiden for her DPS mechanic, even though she could do pretty good damage, right? She's a very strong character, not like Cinderella strong, but she's a fairly strong character. But I think 9 times out of 10, most people are using her for her buff, like a 41% strong element damage buff and basically a 21% attack buff of an attacker is fairly good, right? It is fairly good. And again, remember, she gives herself her own strong element damage buff and an attack buff that scales off final max HP, where this character is increasing her max HP by a lot, right? 60, I think it's like 63% basically. Yeah, she's increasing her max HP by 63% by her lonesome. By her lonesome. And is she a defender? She's a defender, not even an attacker. She's a defender, right? Like I'm telling you, honestly, Maiden is really up there, right? Now, when it comes to Guillotine, she is kind of like Eleg as well, in the sense of like she's buffing up water code allies. That's really her main thing. I wouldn't even say she's a DPS. I'd say she's more of just a water buffer, right? I mean, she's kind of like a normal attack DPS, but I'll explain it to you guys, right? Basically, activates every time XP, you know, reaches 10 stacks. She'll give herself like, you know, or she'll reload, she will recover her HP, and then that's really it, right? For every level up, all water code allies will have a damage destroying element 1.16% buff increase, but multiplied by the hero's level. So the max level she can have is 11, for example, right? So if, you know, basically if this character had 11, you know, levels, it would be 1.16% times 11, and that's the buff she's giving to all water code allies. And the same thing for attack, which is 0.1%. So she's giving that continuously to all water code allies. On her burst skill, she's giving a 10% attack damage buff, and again, more strong element damage buff of 18%. And she does deal damage, but again, I would not really necessarily use her as a DPS. And then for herself, she is increasing her own attack that stacks up to 100. Whether you use her burst skill or whether you land 6 normal attacks without hitting a core, or you hit a core 3 times, she's going to be giving herself a 1.81% attack buff that stacks up to 100 times continuously, right? So I feel like a fully built up Guillotine with overload gear and damage of strong element will hit very hard. And the same thing with Maiden. Like, honestly, these two characters are very good, right? These two characters are really good. Now compared to Brid, compared to Zxous and Brid, right? Now that we've kind of recapped what those two characters do, who should you go for? Because my thing is, all four of these characters have a niche, right? Zxous her niche is win code bosses with parts. If you're not fighting that, then she's not gonna work, realistically, right? Brid is a character where her niche is basically wind. Like, you have to fight wind code enemies. That's her niche, right? I want to say that's realistic, her niche, because why else am I going to use her if I'm not fighting a wind code enemy, right? And she's a supporter burst 2 that's meant to be a DPS. It's a bit weird. I want to test her up before I like really, you know, like give her, say she's good or bad, but I feel like she's going to be decent. But again, I'm not going to have the craziest hope in a burst 2 supporter with like stuff like this, right? Like, her percentage are high, but that's really it. The damn shaking is cool and all, but like, you know what I'm saying? And then you have Maiden, who is very strong as a character, and then a really good electric support. And then you have Guillotine, who's also quite strong as a character, and then a really good water support. Somehow, I still feel like in an overall setting, you're just better off getting Maiden and Guillotine than you are Zxous and Brid. And it's so crazy for me to say that, because these two characters came out last year, right? But if you don't have Maiden and you don't have Guillotine, I would still probably say Maiden is the best out of all four of these characters in a general sense. You slap her with Cinderella or any electric code characters, they're getting a crazy buff. Not to mention, again, Maiden does damage herself. Maiden does big damage herself. Remember, she is a 0.5 Cinderella. Like, she's like Cinderella's little sister. They're the same character, basically, right? They're the same character, basically, just not really the same character in a sense, right? I feel like Zxous is a character who's gonna be very good against her niche, but like, do I need a fire DPS for Indivilia or anything that has to do with that? Because it's not like, oh, any win bosses, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, she's gonna be good against any win bosses. She needs to specifically be against win bosses with parts, right? If you guys look here, she will give herself a sustained damage buff when herself or an ally breaks apart. She will be giving immunity to noise pollution to all her allies when they destroy a part. And again, noise pollution could cuck your team as well, in a sense. It removes hit rate by like 100% for, I think, a second, right? It's for 1 second. Yeah, for 1 second, which is not really that big of a deal, but still, come on now. You know what I'm saying? I feel like she's gonna be good, but it's just her niche is so niche that it's not even like worth it, in my opinion, right? I would say like for her, just hold off on her until you see until you see like testing of her. But realistically, there's just no way you should need to summon for her, right? Brid is probably, out of like Brid and Zxous, Brid is probably the character that's gonna be somewhat useful, because I could see her actually being used as a, depending on how strong she is, right? Because every 5 normal attacks with a shotgun character is like 3 seconds. If she's dealing 675% final attack as damage every 3 seconds, not to mention like, depending on what the team is, Brid could be quite strong, or at least somewhat decent as just that last character on your team to just, you know, chip away at damage, in my personal opinion at least, right? So I do think out of Brid and Zxous, Brid might be the character that's just more useful, more valuable in a general setting overall. But again, it's just, and then she does have an AoE as well, right? So it could be very, very helpful even against mobs, right? I think she's just gonna be more useful overall. But if we're talking about all 4, this is how I'm gonna rank it. I would say Maiden is 1. I would say I have to consider meta as well, but then this character is not in there. This is what I'm gonna say, bro. I'm gonna say Maiden is 1, Guillotine is 2, Brid is 3, and Zxous 4. And that's not in order of how strong they are. That's just in order of how valuable they're going to be, right? It's no question that these 2 characters are just going to be way more valuable for your account than Zxous and Brid. And again, it's so sad, but it's the truth. They're just gonna, Maiden is going to buff up any electric characters. Guillotine is buffing up any water characters. Big time. Big time. Not to mention they're both doing damage, right? And fairly good damage if you have them with overload gear and stuff like that. Again, Zxous gonna hit hard. She is, but in her specific niche. And her specific niche is very rare. Her specific niche is very rare, because even Indivilia, which is a daily thing, is not something that's spamming parts like that. You have parts, yeah, but then after you break, you gotta wait like 40 seconds before you can activate the next part. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I think it's 40 or 30 seconds. It's quite a while before she, you know, slaps her parts back up. So yeah, I'm just being realistic here. But it's up to you guys at the end of the day. You don't have to listen to me. I'm just being realistic. Maiden is number 1, Guillotine is 2, Brid is 3, Zxous is 4. Take that how you want. Should you summon? I don't think you should summon for any of these characters realistically, especially if you don't have Rappy. I'm telling you right now, if you do not have Rappy and you think you're summoning on this banner, you're crazy. Because Rappy's rerunning after these characters, basically. Unless there's one more banner, Rappy's coming back. In January 1st, Rappy's coming into Nikke. A banner that you can use your pity on, or you could summon on her banner, alongside a new overspec Nikke, which is most likely a niece. So you guys take what you want with that. I'm going to laugh at anybody who sits there and says, I'm spending all my gems on Zxous. Because I promise you, 9 times out of 10, 98% of you guys who are watching this video is not going to use Zxous. Guaranteed. Watch. I'm telling you guys right now, I'm betting it. Watch. So much sure you guys are gonna summon for Zxous, and you're never gonna look at her after you summon. It's your boy Zxous. I'm out. Peace. Watch.